it was a pretty good night. It got cold. It was really warm yesterday. It was 30 degrees when I got here. And gradually it cooled off through the evening. It got really cool through the night, naturally. And this morning when I got up, it was about 5. And there was a heavy, heavy dew on everything. But anyway, I got up. I woke up a few times, but I didn't get up until 7. And got up and made breakfast. I'm all done with that. I'm just having my second coffee. And I'm going to head out. Now, my choice now is to go back over Grey Creek Pass and then to Kimberley and then to Cranbrook and continue on homeward. But I truly am sick and tired of this road. I've done it enough times now. So I don't want to beat the bike up anymore. My camera gear was all in disarray in the trunk where it had been bouncing around for 40 kilometers or 70 kilometers, whatever it is through there. And so I don't want to do that again. So I'll go down the hill on the west side. I'll do the switchbacks. I'll get down onto the highway at a place called Grey Creek. And then I'll have to do the big loop. I'll go south towards down to Creston and then loop back up around toward the northeast and get back up to Cranbrook, which is going to be like 100 and some odd kilometers doing that versus the 70 or so to go back over Grey Creek Pass. But anyway, I'm here to ride bikes, and it's going to be fun riding on the road. So I'll do that, and it'll be fun. So now I'm going to finish my coffee, pack up, and get going.
The bike had come through all the rough riding pretty well, with only a little damage. There's a bash plate under the engine that was on the bike when I bought it. By design, there are 2 sacrificial plastic runners on the bottom, and it looks like the sacrifice has been made. Both were broken at the front from rocks flying off the front tire. The runners were still there mostly, and still connected to the plate, so I left them until I could get back home. So, no major damage to the bike.
And away we go!
The next 17 kilometers was a terrific ride down 1,600 meters of altitude and 15 tight switchbacks to Grey Creek. This side of the summit is much easier to ride with very little loose rock. There are a few drainage ditches cut diagonally into the road to reduce washouts, but they're easy to spot and smooth-edged and not too deep. I know I'd been all never again about this road the day before, but I always thought this side of the pass is more fun to ride. So some future time when I'm riding along 3A, I won't hesitate to ride up to the summit and back on this side. For the summit to Kimberley route, no thanks might be my final answer though. It was a spectacular, clear day, and Kootenay Lake was glistening in the sun as I turned south on Route 3A. 3A is an awesome road on a bike. The 69-kilometer ride to Creston along the side of Kootenay Lake is curvy and thrilling. If there's a downside, it's that passing slow traffic can be difficult due to the limited number of places you can safely and legally do it. If you get a slow-moving RV ahead of you, it's probably going to be there for a while. There are lots of interesting places along the lake to stop and stretch your legs.
Nice and clean.
I got to Creston at 11 a.m. One of my favorite coin-op car washes is in Creston, and I stopped there to spray the Grey Creek dust off everything. Then went across the road for an early McLunch. Route 3A joins Route 3, or the Crow's Nest Highway, here at Creston, and I'd follow it for 293 kilometers all the way into Alberta. The Crow's Nest Highway is a beautiful ride. It's very scenic in places, and there are lots of interesting communities along the way. Fuel, food, and anything else you might need are easy to find, and there are plenty of rest stops and parks along the way when you need a break. Soon after passing the tiny hamlet of Yock, I reset my clocks to mountain time and lost an hour. There's often quite a bit of RV and truck traffic between Creston and Sparwood, and things can get a bit congested in Cranbrook and Fernie, but I still love this route. 4:20, I crossed the border into Alberta. This is what happens when 120 million tons of rock break off a mountain and slide into the valley below. A big section of the town of Frank was buried within 100 seconds at about 4 in the morning on April 29, 1903. And unfortunately, somewhere between 70 and 90 people lost their lives, with only 18 bodies ever being recovered. Kilometers beyond Frank, I turned north on the Cowboy Trail, or Route 22, and started thinking about finding a campsite. I got to the Maycroft Provincial Rec Area campground on the side of the Old Man River at 5:30 p.m. It's very basic, but only $21, and one of Alberta's campgrounds that qualifies for the seniors discount, so old-timers like me get 25% off. It was a really nice evening, though very windy. It's almost always windy in most of southern Alberta, but that was okay with me on that day. The air was still really hot, and between the gusts, a horde of thirsty mosquitoes would descend. So, bring on the wind. So it was a 405-kilometer day that brought the total distance to 1,373 clicks. Thanks for watching.